Tony thinks he just soothed me by whispering in my ear, I'm going to be better today.
Low bar.
I thought to myself as he said it, it's not possible to be worse.
It's possible to be worse, but I'm going to be better, I promise, okay? I can't talk about later on for the live stream tonight. Today, though, for show, I'm going to be better.
Well, today is an awkward day because things in the world are moving a little bit too fast to be sane. And if you're walking around life depressed or angry or scared because the world seems like it's on fire, we are solving it tonight by, at the same time, and this has to be a live stream first in the history of sports media. I don't believe that anything this pioneering has ever existed. During an 8 p.m. deadline where the President of the United States is threatening to nuke a civilization at an appointed time tonight, we're going to be watching the Marlins, Heat, and Panthers. That's a first in the history of the media. These things have to be planned out weeks in advance. We could not plan for an 8 p.m. war deadline. We could not plan for the Panthers not being able to defend their trophy. We could not plan for the Miami Heat being a 10 seed. And we could not plan for the Marlins coming off of a shutout loss.
I think you're shortchanging the Heat a little bit because the season tiebreak is on the line with the Raptors.
They're 2 games from the 6, right? Like if they were to win out, they could get really good positioning and get you excited all over again. Not that they're going to win out with 2 games against Toronto and Atlanta. But again, 8 p.m. tonight, because this continues to escalate somehow, we are being run as a country by a totally deranged lunatic who needs to have the keys of the country taken away from him because he's going to get everybody killed.
Here's the post from this morning.
I don't know how else to sort of put plainly the lunacy of America behaving this way. That at 8 p.m. we're setting a lunatic deadline where we're just going to say we're going to nuke a civilization because the guy in charge is clearly crazy and out of control and somebody needs to put a stop to this because we are in great peril as a people?
That wasn't the statement. This was a statement from Donald Trump this morning. A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change, where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionarily wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight. Why is he treating this like American Idol? One of the most important moments in the long, complex history of the world. 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran. This is, a couple words after threatening to destroy the entire civilization.
So the Marlins, the Heat, and the Panthers is the live stream tonight.
I'm going to try to be better for that one, too.
We're going to start at 6:30 p.m., and then we're going to be on at 8 p.m., and the president is threatening to extinguish a civilization at an appointed time.
But God bless them.
The Panthers, the Heat, and the Marlins are what we'll be watching together at 8 p.m. A historic broadcast tonight.
Cyclones also have a big one.
Purdue was a number 1 seed as
Kirk Cousins look like JCPenney.
Looks like it's back, Jack. It's bracket time, so make a chart. Does Jeff Van Gundy look just like the Queen of Hearts? Does Adam Silver look like a torpedo bat? Let's get March Sadness back on track. Looks like it's back, Jack. When the donuts are in front of you, does Andy Reid say, don't mind if I do? Adam Silver looks like a Q-tip thing, or frying a bag of onion rings. When Timmy laughs until he hacks, that's how you know that looks like his back, Jack. Let me hear you say, looks like his back, Jack. Let's keep on doing it every year. So add that Bert says Mr. Bond, welcome to Tangier. Jeff Fisher looks like shotgunning beers at a NASCAR track. If you say this game's the best, I'll say it's a gag. Looks like his back.
Northwestern is gone from the tournament.
Jim Harbaugh looks like a casket salesman.
Fairleigh Dickinson, 16 seed, repped by
Mike McDaniel looked like a college student on a full-ride scholarship for esports.
What a run.
Looks like his back, Jack.
We've got a basketball championship in college basketball to talk about. Chris Cody, you're already in character because you're already tipping that cowboy hat.
To the champs.
You all right, so that was a tip of the cap to the champs because you today are what? And I'm sorry about this. Jeremy, what were you yesterday? I never commented on the punishment you were paying. Your voice was hoarse. You couldn't talk. And so we basically ignored you, but you were dressed as something. What was the punishment you were paying?
Randall Cobb.
Okay. So you were corn on the cob, and it was the Randall Cobb punishment.
Yeah, it wasn't a punishment. It was self-imposed. I figured if I couldn't contribute with my voice, I would contribute visually.
By being literally corny.
Yep.
So, Chris, what are you doing today?
I'm proving how much better I look than Levi McCathern, the attorney.
Wow.
Puka Nakua.
That's really good.
That is pretty good, and yeah, that is excellent. So you're
much better.
You're not, but you're not serving a punishment either. This
Maybe
is
25 years younger. I think I was wrong saying 20.
You don't look that much younger, but you do look better. You look cleaner. I assume that suit
What
is.
are you looking at?
You look cleaner than that man, but not necessarily. You look better, but not that much younger.
Can I ask seriously?
What's up?
How is that Puka Nakua's attorney? How?
You went to law school?
Like, I don't want to
He might
judge
be
a
a
book
great
by
attorney.
its cover, but how's that his attorney?
You want this guy on your side.
No, I don't think so.
I do want him on my side at least. Maybe not representing me, but I want him
no,
on my
you-
side.
You don't want this guy against you, and I am sure he's an excellent attorney. My guess is, instead of guessing, please, I'm sure he's very expensive, and my guess is he gets stories in the press, and my guess is that he is one of the most successful attorneys anywhere to be found in that region.
Yeah, he is both the Dallas Cowboys lawyer and Jerry Jones' family's personal lawyer.
Okay, now I'm in. Now you instantly think more highly of him.
Yeah, you have to when you hear that.
No, but you don't. That's the thing about that is, have you not noticed that our jury system is a clown show? Like, have you not noticed that our government systems are failing throughout, and that the judges can be jerry-rigged, and you don't actually have to be the smartest. You could just be the guy who's next to Jerry Jones.
On McCathernLaw.com, it says, Levi's down-to-earth approach makes him uniquely effective both in the courtroom and in media engagements, where he's often called upon to represent clients in high-visibility matters.
He does look down to earth.
I'll get back to that in a second because I can't talk about this guy enough. Because Zaz is correct. How do you hire that guy? Because that guy can't get up in the morning, dress like that, go to work, and be a lawyer and consider himself looking like a serious person. It's not down to earth. He looks ridiculous. It doesn't mean he's not a good lawyer. He looks absurd. You can't walk that way into a courtroom.
It's the cowboy hat.
I mean, that guy so obviously owns a car dealership.
He makes cheesy commercials. We'll get back to that in a second. We have serious things going on in America. At 8 p.m. tonight, we have a deadline with Iran because we've got a lunatic running this country, and he's threatening to extinguish a civilization, and we will be doing a live stream of Marlins, Heat, and Panthers. That's what we're doing at 8 p.m. tonight. What we're doing right now is checking in on a Shams report as some details are coming forth for the first time, really, about everything that's happening with Giannis and Milwaukee, and what Shams is saying is the most toxic, through quotes, is saying is the most toxic environment that there is in the NBA. The freshly reported details are confirming that the offer for Giannis from the Miami Heat was the most seriously considered, that the Heat and Bucks felt like they were pretty close to a deal less than 24 hours beforehand, and then ownership stepped in and a different decision was made, and then everything changed in 24 hours, a deal that centered around Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, and draft picks. Now, what else was interesting in that story before we get to other matters locally here, Zaslow? Because this, Shams, this is an interesting space that Shams is traveling in, right? Because he's an information broker and he's also a journalist, but his sources clearly very often are agents with a story to tell. And so you get a distorted version of the truth from an angle depending on what his relationship is with which camp. So this doesn't represent the truth. It just represents the truth through Giannis's camp as far as I can tell from reading it. But Shams also writes now. He's one of the few still writing. Mike, where are those newspapers you found? You never found a Miami Herald yesterday, but you found, I don't know what the Epoch Times is. What does the Epoch Times write about?
That is basically a once-a-week national newspaper, I think, and the Miami New Times. I did my plan of going to a hotel concierge did work to get a newspaper, just not today's paper. They told me over at the Intercontinental, which is a serious hotel.
That's very surprising.
It's where the Indiana Hoosiers stayed. They told me that they stopped having the daily Miami Herald delivered around COVID. I did find where you could reliably count on being able to pick up today's paper, though. This was after the fact. If you want today's hard copy paper, your best bet is a local Publix. And I did bump into a payphone on my walk back.
A working payphone?
A working payphone with a dial tone right around this corner.
This may be a stupid question. I hesitate to ask it because I think it is so stupid. Are there kids who don't know what a dial tone is?
Definitely.
Like that because the dial tone, that if I say dial tone to a kid of what age, that child is looking at me and saying, I don't know what you're talking about. What is a dial tone?
I'd say 12.
Because Mike Ryan finding a payphone, a landline, surprises me. I would have thought that those would have gone extinct. Him not being able to find a newspaper, a daily newspaper, makes me profoundly sad for both the state of journalism and the state of our country, I would say, as more than ever, we need a strong press to challenge the lunacy happening at the top of someone trying to break the government and make America his seventh bankruptcy, and now brings us to the brink of something that is war, but they're not saying is war. They don't want to say is war because then they're going to be accused of crimes that are war crimes, and beyond that, we've got a president who's guilty of all of the major crimes. Like the
military operation crime.
You understand what is happening in this country right now, and it is scary to all of us. But the Shams report as it relates to journalism in our small little playpen. What do you believe? Who do you trust? What's the reporting that's real? What are the facts that's real when everyone is compromised in some way? And as you read that story, you can tell that's coming from Giannis's camp. Yes or no?
Almost all of it is coming from Giannis. Absolutely. Especially when you read stuff like, because, you know, so this part I find interesting. After back and forth discussions, including a meeting in Greece in late July, the New York Knicks became the only team that Giannis said he would play for other than Milwaukee. And then you have, quote, Giannis has wanted to handle this professionally by being very upfront with the team. One source with direct knowledge of the situation said this could have been a happy resolution, but instead might end up being a nasty breakup. And yeah, it's obviously coming from Giannis' side because, I'm sorry, handle it professionally. Like, you're not handling it professionally if you're telling the team, hey, there's only one other team that I would go play for. Like, I understand the perspective of Milwaukee, you know, you want to do right by Giannis because, hey, he did so much for you. You won a championship in 2021. But it kind of works both ways a little bit, doesn't it? Like, there has to be, like, a mutual respect between Giannis for the team and everything they've done for him. I mean, Dan, you seen these highlights of his two brothers running around the court together? These are not NBA players. All right, like, Milwaukee's done a lot for Giannis as well, and it doesn't seem like there's respect being reciprocated.
Oh, this is an interesting one, though, when you get into that, because quiet as it's kept, that part he just said is ridiculous, like truly absurd. Those jobs are really coveted. The world is fighting for the jobs at the end of that bench. That's a friends and family plan
They
that
work
they've
hard
had in Milwaukee.
Those are not NBA players.
But that's a friends and family plan. Look, man, that's Giannis being in a different country, being a superstar with monster temptations at every turn, surrounding himself with the closest thing to family that can be to protect. Look, Giannis is worth more than what the Bucks are. Like, I know he's not worth more, but Giannis as a figure right now, I take him out of Milwaukee. I have gutted your franchise. I've gutted you. Miles Turner's going to be an albatross for years. Like that. When I say he's more valuable, the franchise has its value, but the Bucks become irrelevant the moment that he leaves, and will be there for a very long time, even if they had Khalil Ware and Tyler Hero, which is the best that they were going to do in this incarnation. But when it comes to how it is that these breakups work, there is no good way ever to do this. This has not been done well by anybody. There have been a great many different forms. No one knows how to do this correctly because not everyone's going to agree with how any of this is done. So now we enter the spin cycle of, as far as optics go, this person's story is crazy in terms of what a star he's become in a different language, okay? We don't really allow that in this country very much. Your commercial spokesmen speak English. They're the ones who connect with the audience. Jokic is excellent, as best as I've ever seen. Not a real star in this country. Basketball star. This is a foreigner who is a superstar in this country. That franchise has protected him by keeping his family there. His family will move with him. The next place will have to do for him. Man, Dragic got this done. This is a real power center. They change the worth of your franchise. This person moving. The reason LeBron's underpaid is because every city he's come to, he has increased its value while salary capped the economy around the stadium by tons of money. There are how many guys in this league who have this kind of value, this kind of interest, this kind of story is worth writing about them right now?
Probably like half a dozen, maybe.
They are the league.
Mm-hmm.
The league isn't whatever they're going to put in Seattle. This league made a star league. They've got a star problem. Your franchises aren't your franchises. He's Milwaukee. When he leaves Milwaukee, the Bucks cease to matter.
So in that sense, that's why I'm saying the respect doesn't seem to be reciprocated, because what you're saying is true. When he leaves, that franchise is going to cease to matter for a very long time. So why can't it be, let's both come up with a resolution that's good for each side instead of Giannis, it only matters what I want here? Like, shouldn't we allow the Bucks to talk to other teams besides the New York Knicks so that I don't leave you floundering forever?
Here's what's funny about how many different ways this gets contaminated, though, by the bias of whatever it is or whoever it is that's looking at it, whether it's Shams, whether it's the media, whether it's the betrayed fan. Of all the personality types, because Giannis cares about his image, about the optics, how things look in the commercials. The only guy who actually came close to getting this right, not fighting with the franchise, is the personality type of Russell Westbrook. That guy figured out how to get out as triple-double MVP of the league. Oh, they're losing anyway. Oh, Russell needs a new home. It's okay. Let's break up. What are the odds you would have gotten 5 years ago or 10 years ago on Westbrook being the only one to be able to get this right?
It's pretty amazing. Jeremy and I were laughing about it. He was left at the altar by Paul George. And so OKC fans kind of understood his plight.
Yeah, it was KD that leaves Oklahoma City, right? And Paul George ends up in Oklahoma City. And when he wants to be traded to the Clippers, after extending in OKC because of Russell Westbrook, that sets up for SGA. Then you have all of these big men that he made look better over the years. Guys like Enes Kanter and Steven Adams and Serge Ibaka at different points of his career, who all gather picks. Then Russell Westbrook himself was flipped for Chris Paul and 2 more first-round picks. And Chris Paul, at the time, was a leader for a young team that was needed. He really set them up for the future.
Still. Do you guys hear that? He's playing hurt, though. You guys can hear the knot in his hamstring as he tries to run the bases.
I thought the pain in his voice
I thought you
was
meant the pain.
Describing how a franchise turns the page and rebuilds.
Jeremy, I am looking forward to you being your strongest self this evening during the live stream when we are going to be eager about the Marlins with you if we don't have to go off the air at 8 p.m. because America's done something horrible and criminal.
Well, don't worry. At 8 p.m., we'll be going to the Your Song, Your Choice selection, setting up the songs we'll be able to listen to later in our program, as well as our first look at the Le Batard AF merch alert.
Also, we'll have a 50-50 raffle.
But save your voice, please, because it's not doing well. It's not doing much better than it was yesterday. And I hear the hurt, and it's distracting. I can't, I don't know if this is happening to anybody else, but you were making very good points I couldn't understand because I heard the knot in your hamstring.
I found it sexy.
Yeah, I've been told it's sexy.
Okay, but that's not what I'm telling you. It may be.
Teach their own.
It may be indeed sexy, but what it can't be as audio is distracting to me when I don't understand what he's saying because I'm listening to the knot in his hamstring. Thank you for telling me that it's fair how it is that I try to do an audio program.
Speaking of Giannis's brothers playing for the team, who's the star in the league who thought he was good enough to get his sibling or cousin on the team, and they're like, hey, sorry, buddy.
Look,
you know Giannis.
LeBron,
I'm picturing Tyrese Halliburton being like, hey, guys, I got a good cousin.
You don't know.
Like, nah.
You don't know how funny it is that the media got so mad because LeBron put his kid on the team when Giannis's entire family is on the payroll. It's an absurdity.
And who's the guy around the league that's like, I want to do this? And the team's like, nah, you're you.
I'm assuming the Jokic brothers have some sort of management position, ambassadors or something. Wasn't there a controversy involving one of the Jokic brothers this last weekend? Didn't one of them try to fight an old man or something?
Dan, both of them are obviously super big, but one of them is significantly bigger than the other one. Just he looks like the Mountain in Game of Thrones, an incredibly giant, scary man.
That is correct. He's about 300 pounds, and you don't see but 5% body fat on him. He seems like he's made all out of his skull, that the skull just runs the entire base of the skeleton, and it's 300 sturdy, muscled pounds.
350, and he's about 6'10".
Thick.
350
all
pounds.
tatted up.
All complete muscle. I'm not going to try and say his name because I'm trying to be better today.
Okay. How's that working out so far?
Great.
Okay. I'm looking forward to your contributions this evening. Again, when we're doing a live stream unlike any I believe ever done in sports history, we're going to be watching the Marlins, the Heat, and the Panthers as there's a deadline for the world literally burning.
You may remember at one point, Chris, J.R. Smith's brother was signed by the Knicks.
Wow. Now we're talking. I would have thought that would have got a no.
Jeremy just whispered to me, because he wants to win the argument, while you guys are doing show and I'm trying to listen to you, people in the chat are saying my voice does sound sexy.
It does.
I see you put in the chat.
Yeah, I asked. Put it on the poll. Yeah, put it on the poll. Does Jeremy sound even sexier than usual?
So
That's what I asked, and guess what? They all said yes.
You would represent it as the chat is saying. When I saw you
I
get in
provoked
the chat
it. I asked the
asking.
question. I was mad at Dan, and I said, do I sound sexy or do I sound sexy? And the answer was sexy.
I hear the knot in his hamstring.
Yeah. There it is.
He was making great points. I heard Paul George and Chris Paul, and I was like,
It sounded like
Way to use Dan's phrase.
It sounded like he was wildly informed. It sounded like
Hey, you don't call me that.
But I was distracted because he was hobbling down the baseline. And so everything he was saying, I'm worried about his health because something doesn't sound right. From that story, Zaslow, the most interesting details, and I want to ask you again, framing it in the journalism of our times. He's writing it. That still means something, okay? But he can't do that on television. What he just wrote there, where it's reported, it's framed, that takes many hours to do. That's not just getting on television and gasbagging for 90 seconds. He's got to do substantive reporting. That takes him all night. That takes him several days to put together the information there. He doesn't just spit it out. He's not a typewriter. What is in there that is meant, I want you guys to watch this part. Giannis just got his guy to do the story. Giannis is at the height of the fight with the union and the league's going to investigate. Giannis is getting out. This is what it looks like at the beginning when you go get your gatekeeper, you tell him the story, and you put Shams to work on tell my story to protect my family's economy. The machine has kicked to work here. And Shams passes as a journalist. Journalist or not a journalist?
No, he's a journalist.
Okay, but we've got some... Adam Schefter is guilty of some breaches here journalistically that would make somebody in a previous time no longer be allowed to be a journalist because the information guys are compromised. Shams is telling a story here on behalf of this entire agency. This might as well be a press release. It's got details in there, but what I'm telling you is this is an orchestrated thing meant to, hey, Giannis still has the commercials. Let's go protect all this. Shams, go write this story.
Well, but there is some other stuff. Like, you have this one quote here where the crux of the issue is feeling Giannis doesn't want to be here on any given day, one team source said. Like, quotes like that are not coming from Giannis's agent. Most of the story is Giannis's agent.
Oh, listen, I'm not. This is the thing about the dance that these guys are doing. Look, man, I've sold my soul to the entertainment vehicle over the last 20 years, where I'm watching what's happening here in journalism. And this is the best there is right now. He's got all the contacts, all the sources. I did not believe that this job could be done by anybody in the world the way that Woj did it. Like, I literally thought there was no other personality anywhere walking the globe, seeing everyone who's come through journalism as uniquely qualified to be as cutthroat, as nuts, as 20 hours a day talking to every single person as Woj. But this guy is that. This guy learned at that tree, and I didn't think anybody can do that. And he writes the stories. And when I tell you that right now Giannis and his family need protection on the optics of however this goes next when nobody gets this right but Westbrook, what do you do with the information that this person is writing a story that I'm telling you is part of an orchestrated plan to clean up whatever it is that Giannis needs cleaned up here? And it doesn't mean that he can't put in the other side here and there as well, but that was a wildly flattering article to Giannis.
Oh, you think so? I don't think so. I didn't think it was very flattering to Giannis.
Can you clear up for me what you think is very flattering to Giannis?
I thought the agent wanted it to be flattering.
Yeah, I didn't seize on that. I was interested in the machinations of the deal, but I didn't come out reading like, oh, Giannis looks really good here.
I think it looks bad.
Okay, so go ahead. Explain to me why you think that it looks bad as they're trying to Okay, so you're not making the jump that I am making, that the team of Antetokounmpo and Giannis are in the mode right now preparing for and in the middle of a public relations fight.
I do believe that.
That they don't have the apparatus to execute themselves, so they have to summon somebody who wants the story and then give it to the person who's going to disseminate the story to give it more reach than it would have under any other circumstances.
As you can color in the lines here, I don't doubt that that's the intention.
I do believe that.
Yeah, that's PR spin 101.
And I think that it's backfired.
Yeah, but they didn't control the narrative. They're subject to whatever Shams applies to it.
But I also think they think their story makes them look sympathetic, and I think they're wrong.
Yeah, it's just a miscalculation. Go ahead.
You think that they're wrong because the audience is predisposed, I believe, to think that the money-grubbing athlete is doing the wrong thing, behaving the wrong way, when in a system that doesn't allow that athlete the freedom to ever do this with a way that will be met with grace from a public that's not already ready to be outraged. Giannis is a sweet person. He got to that superstardom the best ways. His story is crazy. The way he performed in the finals was nuts. Mm-hmm. He won a championship, and that buys you forever. He won a championship for a market and did it the right way. As all the other guys were fighting each other, he did it as the one guy. You could get me Middleton and Drew Holiday, but it's going to be me. I'm going to be the star. I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. It's not going to take three guys. It's going to take one. And his story makes it so that he's a bigger star than Jokic, who's a better player. He's a bigger star because he's in the commercials. He let us get to know him. Books have been written about him and his connection to the city, the details of which are him jogging through the streets to practice because he came from such humble beginnings that he just ran to the practice facility, didn't have a car, and would run miles to the facility because he could run for miles. Turned himself into an amazing player when he was super raw and never considered to be this. Like, worked his way to that. Giannis, I know we see it now and we're like, wow, what amazing gifts. Yes, of course. Wasn't drafted in a way that would suggest that people knew that was going to be this. Nobody knew that was going to be this. Story has worked his way to it, wins the championship, perfectly humble, pillar for everything you want. Here come the commercials. Here comes the connection to Milwaukee. Here comes the parade. Milwaukee hasn't felt this good as a city in a long time. Hey, time to break up. Middleton, go to the Wizards. Drew, get out of here. Win it for somebody else. Hey, Giannis gets left behind, and he's waving his hands. Get me help, get me help. Miles Turner, get me help, get me help. Ooh, they got you Damian Lillard. Ouch, that one hurts. That's the one that's supposed to work. All this plays out differently. If Dame Lillard comes into camp in shape and doesn't get injured because he was sad, because this hurts when you've got a genuine connection with a city, Damian Lillard gets there emotionally broken and then physically broke. Like, got there fat, because whatever that stress was, didn't want to leave the city, goes back to the city now because these connections matter to people like Giannis. I don't believe that's fraudulent. Like, I don't believe that that Giannis ever thought that the love with Milwaukee was going to be temporary.
Obviously, the player is by far the most important in this scenario. But why don't the Bucks get any credit? Like the Bucks did draft this kid who no one thought was going to be this.
He was a project, no doubt.
Huge project. They helped nurture that. Like, if we want to talk about Heat culture and the way the Heat develop players, like the Bucks, at very least, helped Giannis get to the place that he got to. The Bucks did get pieces, including trading for guys like Drew Holiday, and helped him become a champion. The Bucks put his family on the team. I'll tell you who wouldn't have done that: the Heat. I mean, if LeBron James had brothers that weren't NBA players, they wouldn't have been on the Miami Heat.
Well, not so sure.
LeBron tried that. Look,
They drafted Shabazz Napier.
This is known within Heat circles, all the things LeBron and his camp wanted. Look, they were right to want them. Why wouldn't they want them? Give us a ton of season tickets. We're coming to Miami. Of course, they knew what they were worth. They were trying to change and shake the system and get the skyboxes for themselves so that they could turn Miami into the party that I'm sure Los Angeles became in some ways, where his kid's on the roster.
Zaz, I read this article, and I just see more of the same half measures from Giannis's camp, who never really actually has the balls to say he wants to leave.
That's the interesting part, right? If he would have said that before the trade deadline, I don't think Bucks fans would have been angry. I think they would have understood. And now we have this story and all of this.
Yes, we have the whole drama that it's still unclear. Like, okay, come back and play. You don't like that we're waving the white flag. Oh, you don't want to do the things necessary to actually come back.
He just wants to play with his brothers, which Amin, told us yesterday, and that's a nice sentiment, but can you give the team a little bit of credit where, all right, they need to watch you practice one day?
At every turn with this Giannis drama, there are obvious questions to ask. Well, then why aren't you going in practice and working your way back here if this is so important to you, if you take such offense to waving the white flag? But he's along for the ride. It seems like this is part of his plan, them tanking, because him on the court helps them win, and he doesn't want to be on the court.
It wasn't just the playing with his brothers. It was also, apparently, according to the sources within this article, that not playing 41 games cost him a significant bonus in his Nike contract.
Okay, he's been hurt.
Well, right, but if he wants to come back and get to that amount of games, and the Bucks are telling him, no, we don't want to clear you, no, we don't want to clear you, no, we don't want to clear you, there are multiple reasons he wants to be back that have nothing to do with competition. The team claimed, hey, we wanted you to play 3-on-3, and he wouldn't do that. As a part
they
of
need to see him practice before it's just a show up from not even play room. Hey guys, I'm ready to play. Put me in the game.
Again, it's always the most obvious follow-up, and the entire story from Giannis's camp, it just cracks.
Okay, you say that, but we really are. Over here is the biased. Everyone is gathered around, tired of the athlete leaving. Like, who likes this? This is all broken, and it's like, this was a lovely relationship, and now it's all busted up, and he loved Milwaukee, and now he's going to leave hurt.
And the league is investigating the team.
And again, he wants to play and isn't being allowed to for whatever his reasons, whether it's the Nike contract or he really cares about winning 3 more games.
One correction. He says he wants to play.
Okay.
I think scrutiny should be applied when they're very clear and obvious benchmarks to clear here that he is
practice one day.
Okay.
He's just not interested in doing it.
He says he wants to play, and here is a detail offered up for your perusals on, I don't know what the amount was, but he wants a bonus from Nike. That sounds like the truth because it's just cold and no one better. Like, just follow that trail. Follow that trail at all times. I don't know what the bonus is.
Giannis will be okay without the bonus.
I was going to say, plus,
he'll be all right.
He's one of the biggest sellers for Nike. He doesn't play 41 games, and all of a sudden people stop buying Giannis shoes? No way.
Bold prediction. He'll be made whole.
Yeah, I would imagine Nike takes care of that.
Okay, and that is all well and fine. The detail is in the article why. Why is the detail in the article? Why do you know?
Because it helps make him look good.
Yeah, he wants to paint an argument.
Which is what Giannis's camp went into this doing, and yet the entire thing collapses when you apply a modicum of scrutiny to it, which has been the deal this entire season. This is a breakup. Giannis is especially struggling with how to do it right. It's beneficial to the Bucks that he actually doesn't play because they know how good they can be when Giannis is on the court, and they don't want to be good this year because they want a higher pick. This is just all posturing and half measures, and anybody with a brain can understand what's going on here. It's a guy that wants to be this is Dwight Howard all over again.
That's a good comp.
It is Dwight Howard all over again. He does not have the guts to do what is necessary to force his way out because that burns some bridges, and he doesn't want to be unpopular, even if it's just for a few months.
But this one's, God, this is so interesting, right? I watched A-Rod sort of collapse under the weight of this and rebuild himself from there. But the optics on who do I have to be so Americans will love me? The optics on not who am I and then America loves me. And he'd walk around and he'd ask Michael Jordan and he'd ask Cal Ripken Jr., how do I shake hands? What do I need to do so that America will love me? This guy's been very good at the optics until now, right? I remember the Flames climbed real high on Dame Lillard when we all loved Dame, and then it was like, we're sniffing around because it's near the money, and the relationship isn't as pure as I thought it was. Oh, I thought that was love. No, you're the businessman. Only you get to be the businessman. The customer, the media, everyone here is aligned against this guy being able to do this correctly, because you guys are wildly full of shit if you think somebody who comes out and just says, yeah, I want to leave, get my ass out of here, isn't going to be perceived as arrogance and him shaking the system. That guy doesn't care about team, when everything he's shown you optically and has been trying to prove to America for the last 13 years is, do you know how much I care about team? It's not about me, it's about us. I'm the humble superstar. I'm the best, but I'm pure. Mm-hmm. It's all about team.
Yes, that's what he wants people to believe, no doubt.
But
we know from the summer of reporting how serious he was in his flirtation with the New York Knicks. I have no doubt how important it is to Giannis that people have a good opinion of him, and he is afraid to go all in on fully requesting a trade and being that bad guy because he doesn't want to navigate what few weeks that might be in the news space before everybody forgets about it.
This is a less bad opinion that people will have of him than the prospect that you're telling him to do. Right. That would go more poorly for him than this.
Right, in terms of maybe Milwaukee. In the eyes of the basketball world, he's a chump.
But that relationship matters to him. Is that relationship allowed to be real, or is it always going to be a business transaction?
It's always going to be real. And even if he forces his way out, he can open up a car dealership in Milwaukee whenever he wants, provided he waits 6 weeks and the fan base gets over it.
On top of that, Dan, is not the humble and his humility nature just part of the ego? Right? You're going to tell me Giannis has zero ego whatsoever? No, man. This is part of who he is. He's the alpha top-tier athlete on the planet. And the way that he's built is like nobody else. His ego is hurt right now. And the way that he fixes is by being humble. That's got to feed into it.
Okay, but what I would just tell you is the way he got to be a superstar in America through all the obstacles I just said is because it was always well camouflaged. Whatever his ego was that got him to excellent always was shrouded in the humility of this guy's not one of the assholes. He's not one of the arrogant ones. We're going to allow him to be face of the league for a little while here because he's one of the good guys, just like we made Steph one of the good guys. And it's because he's hidden that from us. Yes, you do not win the championship coming back from what I thought was a career-ending injury unless you are an assassin of ego who knows you're better than everyone who you're playing against. That is cutthroat. That's a cutthroat buzzsaw. That guy is absolutely an ego monster in that furnace, will bite anyone's face who comes at him with that kind of ego. But he wants it to look to America like he's sweet.
Yes. There's no, we don't have our wires crossed here. What's going to happen this summer is he's going to get to position himself as look, the franchise is going in a different direction. They have this lottery pick. I wanted to play. Things didn't work out. And he's going to get to play up to whatever narrative, and he'll do all the profile pieces, and he'll get to smile and take out a huge article in the newspaper. He'll get his way. And it takes time. But I do think that people are right to call BS on it. as it's happening.
You guys are just mad because he nuked it. Like everything that's
I'm
happening
mad because
here-
it's like Dwight Howard phony stuff. Like we all know what he wants.
But you guys are mad here because the other detail of the story, the one that Miami cares about, is this was 18 hours from done.
Yeah.
Like this was
I'm mad about that and the Kalshi stuff, no doubt. Because he's actively perpetuating this trade drama. Meanwhile, he has a minority stake in a prediction
Adam
market.
Silver's all over it. Don't worry.
You have to admit that all of that is an amazing evolution of the superstar story. In the places where you say, well, Giannis has got enough. There ain't no enough. These guys are competing on money the way that they're competing on the court. Like if Nike takes $1,000 from Giannis, someone's in his family's going to notice.
Another place where I judge him is, Giannis, you're in the prime of your career, all right? We don't know how long that frame at that level is going to maintain itself. And the optics meant so much to you that you'd rather the good optics than force your way out and compete for another ring. And that we judge everybody in that sport on rings, and he just didn't want to have that mentality here. He'd rather have the optics.
There ain't no enough. You sound like Chris looks.
When you're taking your shirt off and using your body as comedy, you're going.
That's Florida, bro.
You're going maximum
That's
Florida, man.
That's Florida.
When did you decide to start doing that? When was it encouraged? When did that become your signature? The idea that you're up there just throwing your body at the people here in a tight pair of jeans, shirtless.
The jeans have gotten tighter the fat I've gotten. They weren't always tight. My daughter said Baby Walrus needs to move out of skinny jeans. I started doing it just to cheer myself up because you get on the road and do like a Thursday night and you'd be like, I got a whole weekend ahead of me. This is going to be a long weekend. I'm missing my family. It's not sold out. So I would rip my shirt off and kill a beer to make myself giggle because I thought it was silly and to remind myself this should be fun. And then one night I was in Columbus, Ohio. I ripped my shirt off and killed a beer. And then something happened in the room and I forgot to put it back on. And one of the comics I respected was in the back and he was like, bro, you just did a whole hour with your shirt off.
And how does this work with comfort with your body? Because not everyone can do that. You're the first to be doing that. Not everyone is comfortable enough with their size to be in front of thousands of people shirtless like that because it is funny.
It's interesting because I have this reverse body dysmorphia. So like I heard a story, secret time. Obviously I'll tell you, but secret time. I heard a story that Chris Pratt was a fat kid growing up and that someone told me like he'll always be fat in his head. No matter how great of shape he is, he'll always think of himself as a fat kid. I was in shape as a kid, and so I do not see myself fat at all. As a matter of fact, I think in Razzle Dazzle, I look low-key jacked. I think I look better than I've ever looked. My shoulders, dude, look at my shoulders.
You are jacked. Oh, shit, yeah. You got the cuts right there. You see it there?
I mean, I'm feeling good. I feel great about my body.
The new Netflix stand-up special, Razzle Dazzle.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Bert, stop making those
Never show
faces.
your belly button.
Yes.
Do that thing where you're,
Let's increase your female viewers.
make your boobs move.
This is a body you can get.
Razzle Dazzle is the stand-up special. How old would you have to be? What is the age if I came up to you and said, Bert, you're not going to believe this, but the new movie, Machine, it's in theaters in May, and Razzle Dazzle, a Netflix special, is happening. At what point in your career, at what age would you have said, yeah, that's a possible dream?
Oh, 50? Where I am. I didn't think any of that was going to happen. Listen, I got to be dead honest with you. I shot Razzle Dazzle in November, and I'm used to the Netflix specials, but with the Machine movie, that was sitting on a shelf. They weren't doing anything with it, and they weren't going to release it. And it wasn't until I leaked it on Rogan that it got life. And so ever since it's got life, now it's got real life, and so I didn't think the movie was ever going to come out.
Dan, Bert's got me feeling confident. You know what? I'm going to join you, Bert, taking the shirt off.
Wow.
I love it.
Well, I'm gonna have to do it too.
I too was ripped when I was younger, Bert.
To do it.
Let's all be. Come on, bros.
Oh man,
I don't really want to do
Round of
this,
horns.
but,
Dude, you're looking good. The Mano Lantern.
okay.
Oh my
Dan's
God.
doing it too. Dano. Years. Take the
uncomfortable.
top off.
Oh, jeez.
All right, you are allowing us to be more comfortable with our physical
Okay.
appearances.
I have to take off my nipple stickers.
He's a pioneer and an icon.
Oh, look at Dano.
Mr. Nipple.
Oh,
Right there.
Perfectly
do
I'm
this
sorry,
to
I missed
everybody.
I don't know. It's like a
Cold in
routine.
here.
Yeah,
Because
it is
reverse body
cold in
dysmorphia.
here.
It's a reverse
It's a
body
really
dysmorphia
weird
thing.
time for Jessica to come back
yeah, I
into
was
the room.
Jessica,
Perfectly
do
haired
not walk in
gentleman.
here.
Hey, Jess.
You like it, Bert?
Get out.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Why
So
are you
you.
massaging?
Andrew Luck making an
It's
appearance
cold.
there. Bert, I do want to know when you were partying, the top partier at the #1 party school in the country. What did that look like?
You're looking at.
Marijuana in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Around 4. Simpsons, fried chicken, and a lot of cocktails up until about 2 in the morning. Then back to my place. Goat Campbell around 3 in the morning. Joint set on the Seminole Head,
I love you.
and not a lot of sex, just dudes.
Coming up today on the alley oop. If you don't give a damn, we don't give a. Hey, Angel Reese is an Atlanta Dream, man. Also, has Cooper Flag played his way back into the Rookie of the Year conversation?
Also, has Denver secured themselves again as a contender? Or is Aaron Gordon just one hamstring tweak away from being a disappointing season? And if you're a Coco Jones fan or a Donovan Jones fan, a.k.a. Donovan Mitchell, you're going to want to see this clip.
Lock in.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Whoa, that was swag, Chris Cody. I just saw you. I just witnessed at the end of that hour what I'm going to say is the seminal moment of Chris Cody coming into his own. Because, and I don't think any of this was on camera, but it was funny to me. Jeremy threw the show to Chris. I sound like Chris looks, and Chris, in full character, Texas attorney at the top of the mountain, looking better than
Than that guy.
Than Puka's attorney. You do look better than him.
Thank you.
No, but I thought we established that. You absolutely look better, just not that much younger.
I disagree.
You know, Dan, you're not that complicated. You just love a good costume.
You do. You're a simple man.
No,
You're a man of simple taste.
No, but here's the thing.
You're in a good mood when someone dresses up.
Well, that's not up for dispute. But specifically, him rising to the top of the ranks, Cowboy Chris Cody, him ending that segment, I sound like Chris looks, and Chris lassoing the show and then pointing at the camera with the sexiest swagger I've ever seen. That is the height of confidence for a Cody. He felt good, and it's because he's wearing a powder blue suit and a cowboy hat.
Yeah. Now, we did cut to Tony, but I was
looking
here.
at Chris.
I saw from the back.
You
look great.
So anyway, tonight, these are the video stylings we're going to give you. Impeccable timing throughout where, yes, there will be a camera shot of Tony when Chris is doing something funny, but then we'll describe it for you
Reaction shot.
the next day on the show, and the video will get some of it. But also, there's an 8 p.m. deadline on Iran, and it's not a joking matter. I'm sorry I made you sad. Chris, you did very well because you've come into your own. You went straight from giggling, sassy, and
just
sexy
took all the air out of me.
to, 8 p.m. nuke deadline.
News on that front is in the wake of President Trump's morning statement, all diplomatic talks from Iran have apparently been cut off.
No, surprising.
So we will all wait and see together what this deadline means. Many deadlines have come and gone. We'll see. This one's been pretty steadfast lately.
But a bit of an apocalyptic live stream for us tonight.
Might be literally.
I'm not. I wasn't even joking. In terms of dark times, okay. Look, since the pandemic, the show has done its tap dance around sports every day, and we do care about sports. I just heard Zaz say a second ago, "I'm going to SummerSlam." It made me laugh.
We'll see about that.
It made me laugh
because it's not a sport, right?
No, because Zaz is still enthusiastic. Look, Zaz loves sports. Like, these things that allow us to tap back into childhood are lovelier now than ever because the world's burning. And we tried to play baseball games and basketball games during the pandemic, keeping the American economy of sports alive because we need this thing. This stupid thing that makes us laugh every day and takes us away from, yes, of course, the government's more overtly corrupt and racist and dangerous than it's ever been as it tries to dismantle democracy and government systems in the name of everybody get more dollars, especially the president's kids. Like, the whole thing that's happening right now is a lunatic king is raining down bombs on a people, whether you agree with whether or not we're doing it or not. And they've hurt our oil supply, and so now we're going to bomb them more because we want their oil, because we got Venezuela's oil, and soon we'll try and keep Cuba alive with some of that oil, or won't. And the idiot king who runs our country and needs it taken away from him now before he kills yet more people, because plenty are dying as it is. In the middle of that tonight, we'll be watching Marlins, Panthers, and Heat.
And it's all brought to you by Never Miss Your Shot Golf. We're so pumped to have these guys aboard. They really get this show, and they're making tonight possible. Thank you. Never Miss Your Shot Golf.
So it's a 305 Equinox, and it's we are, I don't care what the wording is. We're not on the cusp of war. You can't keep telling me that the war's over and you've obliterated them while we need hero rescues in order to get our pilots out of, danger that was supposed to be stealth. And we've got video. We've got this video, we're long past idiocracy, right? Like the late night shows that are being threatened by the FCC because they're going to wipe out media here.
Bingo. I got bingo.
You've got Donald Trump next to a bunny rabbit.
This was funny.
On
the
Easter.
Visual.
The visual of this. In the middle of war, our lunatic clown, corrupt king, doesn't know his wife's next to him.
No.
Doesn't even know.
Watch this video, because you think when you step out onto a balcony with two people, one of them being the Easter Bunny, you'd have your wits about you. But here's Donald Trump not knowing where the First Lady is, even though she's directly to his right.
I don't think it gets much more hostile than Iran. They're capable fighters. They're very tough people. And there are others like that. You don't mind when the enemy is weak, but that enemy is strong. Not so strong like they were about a month ago, I can tell you. In fact, right now, they're not too strong at all, in my opinion, but we're soon going to find out, aren't we?
Okay, well, maybe that's not that. But take my word for it. He didn't know where she was.
We will get that video for you, and we will bring it before the audience day and night today.
So are they weak or are they strong?
They're strong.
They're strong people, but
got a million-man army.
Weaker than they were a month ago.
And Sandy's on the bump tonight.
Because yeah, that's good.
Ooh, I like that.
We'll enjoy some Marlins baseball tonight.
And if you like betting the Habs tonight, Canadians, little thing I'd like to do, SGP, Caulfield goal, Suzuki assist, Canadians money line.
Also 3 p.m. Cyclones.
Okay, that would be a good. That would have been a good sponsored gambling segment. I don't know why you just threw it in there in the middle of what we're doing. Let me get back.
I'm throwing something in the middle of what we're doing.
Well, I want to throw
This is
something in
technically
there.
all a promo.
What about the Trump sound of him talking about an orgy?
For the audience.
Sheriff?
As you were. As you were.
All you need is a well-placed sheriff, Dan, and you're good.
Is the computer buffering, or why is it that you got scared? And
Yeah,
I
the
feel
YouTube stream
I
on.
felt the sweat gather on the back of your too
I didn't
tight
notice-
white collar.
I didn't notice anything.
There was a
Let's keep it
puddle.
moving.
Wait, Tony, explain to me. What do you mean keep it moving? I think that Jeremy was throwing it.
Can't confirm back of the neck. Very warm.
I don't want to mute that YouTube stream.
You want the orgy sound or not?
No, what I wanted was the sound of him not knowing his wife was next to him. That was the
I don't
sound
have
of-
that. I have the orgy sound.
Okay, I don't
I have
want
sound
the
that says Trump discusses orgy, parenthetically,
no,
not really.
I don't want. No,
not so sure.
I don't want the orgy sound. I want to talk more about the sweat gathering on the back of your white-collared neck. The shirt is too tight. It is starched. And I want to slow everything down here and get the sound that I wanted, which is of him. Because it's idiocracy, okay? We are well past sort of apocalyptic times in terms of this is in no semblance of way normal that the president of our country is just a deranged lunatic whose mental health and sanity can be questioned daily because the last 5 years of his life must have been like ravaging pressure at all times. Like, you can't live amid this kind of corruption and scandal, this close from losing your freedom, charged with 34 felonies, need to overturn the government and our election system in order to stay in power and get your kids rich. Like, you can't do all of that sanely. Like, all of that will make anybody just nuts. Everything that we're talking about here. And guilty of every crime, allegedly. Like, every crime. And Michael Malone is the new coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels.
It's an interesting fit.
I like the fit.
Football and basketball now have champion coaches at the professional level.
Right. I'm judging this when I hold it against the Bill Belichick active disaster. Right? Mike Malone hasn't been in this spot before, but, we know him to be a good coach.
He's never, actually coached college, I don't think.
Right, but I don't know if this is I don't think he's a guy that, won't adapt to this sport. He's got some juice.
But doesn't this mean, similar to Belichick, doesn't it mean that Malone wasn't going to get another NBA job?
Oh, you guys are going to have to help me with some of this because this one's going to be confounding for a while for me. Everything about what just happened here, because at any time that I've been living, Michael Malone would be a coveted coaching candidate in basketball because of what he did in Denver. That we know that he's got a 3-time MVP, he was an unprecedented player. Still hard to do. One, they're not any better without him. And that person, throughout my entire lifetime of coaching, is someone who's going to be very coveted by whomever needs coaches. But the reason that you would question this, and I understand everyone who's questioning it, including, by the way, because Yahoo is writing this headline, which I didn't think I'd live long enough to see. UNC's high-risk hire of Michael Malone shows that blue blood jobs have lost some allure. I'm like, wait a minute. You think Mike Malone should be thankful that he gets to coach North Carolina when this guy was a champion in the pros and what I just watched for months was practice basketball by amateurs? You can wrap it up and celebrate it as Michigan. Congratulations on winning the championship, but that's slop basketball we watched in the men's and women's sport.
Better than the Wizards job.
No, super terrible, and a champion now graces your campus to join the other champion that we question because in the modern age, that professional championship means less than it ever has because we're not convinced, Belichick chief among the examples why, that any of these pros can come to the business of what college is and recruit 17-year-old kids successfully, even if you give them a $20 million payroll to run.
Maybe this is a signal that he wasn't in the mix for NBA jobs. I think it's important to remember he was let go by the Nuggets right before last postseason, and he was heavily linked to the New York Knicks job. That ends up going to Mike Brown. He hasn't exactly had multiple hiring cycles where he's not relevant. He's an NBA champion. He's still young. He's around the sport. We can't ignore the fact that his daughter is presently enrolled at North Carolina, is a volleyball player there. That could certainly, I bet it did, play into this decision.
And when we talk about the conversation of players coach, hard-ass coach, Mike Malone is a hard-ass coach, and usually those tend to do well in the college system, in the college infrastructure of all right, this is how we do things. I've come and I've coached the best of the best. I'm going to help you be the best here.
Okay, but you guys need to walk me down a path here because I need to get some of these things right because what I'm telling you about Michael Malone is strange. That is strange, I think. The man's a champion. He's done an impressive thing coaching a team of professionals that I saw win in that sport when it's really hard. Giannis has won. Jokic is many MVPs, but he's got one of those trophies. Only one guy gets to win them every year. And in my life experience, even in basketball coaching where Sam Mitchell can be coach of the year and then fired the next year, even for as long as I've lived, a guy wins a championship and soon thereafter the team doesn't get worse. And it's not, there were all sorts of questions about him and how hard he was being on that locker room, okay? But Michael Malone is reputed to be a champion by resume. And I hadn't thought about him at all, hadn't considered him for any of the coveted jobs. He had vanished from my thought process, even if he got an interview here and there. And it's because I think we now all know, Jokic would have won with somebody there. That's his prime. He's He's an unstoppable. Everybody who's got an MVP like that can win a title. And so Michael Malone gets diminished there. But when are we calling him Mike and when are we calling him Michael? Because
it's all Michael now.
No, but you called him Mike a second ago.
I was a mistake.
Okay, but he made us change it after he won the championship, correct? Is that not when he became Michael Malone? He changed his name. It's an odd thing in your 50s to change from Mike to Michael. Was it after he won the championship? Do I have my timeline right?
Yeah, I believe so. Amin said that he's always been Michael and always wanted to be Michael, but when the national narrative was they're talking about the coach of the Denver Nuggets now, it was like, hey, call me Michael.
It's also easier just to say Mike. It comes off the tongue easier. Mike Malone.
Regardless, like the jobs that were available for a former NBA champion head coach last year, it was the Knicks. Like that was basically one hiring that he'd be interested in. The guy, I don't think Michael Malone has interest in like going to Brooklyn, let's say, and doing that after he's been to the mountaintop.
I have a question now, and it's a simple poll question. Would Mike Jordan have been as good a basketball player? Would Mike Jordan have been as good a basketball player as Michael Jordan?
Well, I see that and I raise you. I want to be like Michael. I can't be like Michael. I want to be like Mike.
You want to talk about Tony vowing to be better than yesterday? That's a good job.
All right, I'm going to play this video from the parade, and you guys need to help. I do need the help here. Is this Mike or Michael Malone making these comments while wearing a flat brim hat and a necklace? Look,
Cuban link chain.
Look, no, wait a minute. Let's be honest about what happened here. Somewhere around the identity change of champion, Mike goes to Michael. He became this guy who had a little bit of gangster in him, and none of us had seen us before he became Michael, correct?
Is Brucey B going anywhere? Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. Hey, we run this back. We run this back. Hell yeah. Come on. Get loud. Get loud. Get loud.
Brucey B was moved that offseason, I believe.
Literally moments later.
Get loud. Get loud.
Okay, but this is give me some more sound of Malone. So what did we discuss at the time? Was he banged up? Was he being hype man? Who is this personality none of us had ever seen before?
I watch that and I say he's not going to struggle at all connecting to college kids. That guy seems really cool.
That guy is Mike Malone.
Well, all right.
That's
So which one is this? Tell me, who's this? Mike or Michael Malone who's getting angry with the press here?
How hard is it just to absorb a loss like this after going ahead by 20?
Next question, man. The season's over. That's what's hard. Being up 20. The season's over. You don't understand that. The season's over. It's hard. Stupid ass questions.
As people are celebrating in the background.
That is Mike, though. Stupid ass questions at the end is a little like
no, but
jabs.
wait,
Mike.
though. These are two different human beings. Hold on.
I thought that was Michael.
I want to put these sounds next to each other, and you tell me who's Mike and who's Michael, because these are not the same human being. The guy who was undressing the reporter from the perch of I'm in power is not the what's up guy over here. Let's hear his raspy voice.
Is Brucey B going anywhere? Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. Hey, we run this back. We run this back. Hell yeah. Come on. Get loud. Get loud. Get loud.
That might be Mikey.
Get loud.
Roy, I need a ruling here. This feels like, it does feel like Mikey. That's Mikey Malone. That's neither Mike nor Michael.
That's Mikey.
Get loud.
So do you think it's going to work out? I mean,
No.
Why not?
Okay, look. This is really a hugely interesting time in professional sports and amateur sports becoming professional sports, and us talking for the last few days about Corey Close, the champion of the UCLA. Like, that's an amazing season in a basketball historic town, bringing UCLA back to prominence by getting rid of UConn and South Carolina. She's telling you the job sucks. The job sucks. It's not a coaching job. It's a business job. You're the head of a money farm. Here, coach, here's your $20 million payroll. Figure it out.
Isn't that kind of more the NBA model?
The coaches aren't in charge. The coaches are middle managers in the NBA. They have a whole structure above them that's farmed out. It's not Andrew Luck coming over here and scratching his head and saying, well, my dad was an administrator. I'll figure it out. Like, these people have to build giant athletic departments around these $100 million economies because all of these things, what Michigan just did for its schools of business, what Michigan just did by winning championships here recently, by buying and selling with Jim Harbaugh, he flees, you win a football championship, and now you win a basketball one too. This is Florida the last one to do this, where you get both the big championships, and now you're in the big money game at the best time to be in the big money game, because all of these people have realized that all of these businesses are undervalued. Like, these are huge television properties, and Michigan now is a monster out of the conference that's the plotting conference. In the graceful athletic sports, the cement truck moves through the fields, pushing people around because we're bigger than you are, because we're stronger than you are. Connecticut did what it wanted in the post this year, but not last night.
That Margot's a stiff, by the way.
I mean, he's a
Absolute
stiff. He's a stiff that gave people problems. I guess it works in college.
Shooting an oak tree.
It's terrible.
I want to make sure that we're still talking about like the Michael Malone thing, though, and I want to provide helpful context. This is courtesy of Jeff Goodman. Now, it was this Malone hire came out of nowhere. The only people that were talking about Malone was the occasional message board post that would say, hey, his daughter goes to UNC. He was not at all in this. But they were top-line shopping. They were going after Tommy Lloyd. They were going after Dusty May. They all passed on it. I don't know if you guys are watching what's happening in the transfer portal right now. It is popping. A lot of players are entering that. They wanted to have a coach in place. Their top choice after May and Lloyd passed was Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan wanted to wait till the end of the season. UNC, obviously panicking, seeing all these moves in the transfer portal, wanted to have someone installed. So they decided the former NBA champion was the best pivot after their top-line guys declined.
And what I'm saying to you guys about the infrastructure of the business of sports, Michael Malone, champion, is being summoned because we believe he has some sort of leadership skill set that would make him qualified to respect the basketball tradition of North Carolina when they risk this, because they already failed with Belichick, but football doesn't matter there. Basketball is not that. Basketball is the region's identity. He would have been Mike Jordan in another city. He's Michael Jordan there because of what he did to that. That school cares about basketball. For that school to think of Michael Malone as a downgrade is funny. For me to not think about Michael Malone at all for a year and a half is also funny, because usually you get more credit than that for winning a championship. But I think the reason that it's fair to question this, and it's obvious, is what experience does this human being have, not coaching an MVP, running the business of sports when coaching is, it's like the third job. Like, the X's and O's of the stuff on the court is secondary to, you're going to be our CEO, right, Brian Kelly? You're going to be our CEO, and we're going to fight over hundreds of millions of dollars because we're going to give you a $25 million payroll to run by yourself. You're the leader of it. I feel like you need to have an accounting degree to start, to know where it is that all the obstacles are. The moment that Michael Malone walks into the building, when he's been working in television it's not been this. The number of questions he has to have walking in day one are questions he cannot answer himself without help.
I don't think this is the same uphill climb that Bill Belichick had. For basketball, they have a pretty good NIL program. They have a lot of talent. I don't see this as a downgrade from where they were in Hubert Davis. I believe Michael Malone to be a really good head coach. And even if you just plug him into the existing team, that's a team that now beats VCU.
My larger point on seeing all of the tectonic plates shift on the business of this, please, dear God, follow the dollars on all of this, because Michigan just made itself a whole lot of money. And we're putting a lot of people in power. I'm not going to say they're random, but they went and got Hubert Davis and they made him a coach during a different time, and then their standards swallowed him up. This person is a dinosaur for what it is that he's about to embark on, which I would prefer at this point in how they build these things as Please, dear God, give me the 30 and 40-year-old guys who know how to run a front office the way baseball runs a front office, because I need to save every dollar here, and we need to cut out all the inefficiencies that come with, what do you mean Michael Malone has never done any of this before? What do you mean that Michael Malone, yeah, we'll bring him in for X's and O's, but he hasn't recruited. He doesn't know what it's like to walk into a living room and now have a 17-year-old's family, all of the uncles fighting over whatever the money is that's going to be a $2 million NIL deal. He's never done any of that.
He hasn't, but he's Michael Malone, right? You talk about Tommy Lloyd. Who here has heard of Tommy Lloyd? A 17, 18-year-old kid knows him as the Arizona coach.
I know, but tell Joey.
Right. He's the Arizona
head coach.
But still.
To your point, Michael Malone does have very recent cachet, and he's not some dinosaur. He's 54 years old. He's pretty much the same age as all the other guys that we're talking to.
So I'm sorry I did that, because I am thinking now for today's money game that the 54-year-old is a dinosaur, unless he's coming with 15 years of experience at NIL and recruiting.
Right. Dusty May is about to be 50. Tommy Lloyd is 51 years old. Michael Malone is 54. This isn't Bill Belichick at the end of his career. He's got plenty of energy. I do think he's going to have to learn about how to handle those recruits and the whole NIL business. Thankfully, he's with a program that's got that pretty much well down on the basketball front, at least.
And nobody has experience of 15 years in NIL because it hasn't existed, right? You're talking about 5 years, 4 years of people really having.
Oh, but I'm sorry. I made it. I combined 5 with 10 because I'm not just doing NIL. I'm doing the job requirements to be Mario Cristobal, where it's years on the road recruiting. Like, you're simply getting good. Look, these skill sets, I am consistently amazed that you guys think that a Brian Kelly comes in and is just smarter than anyone else in the history of, leadership.
Straw man. I don't think anybody here did.
No, but he got the first big one. The first big one of, I can't believe the CEO of Notre Dame went and said LSU football is better, and that LSU was able to buy one of these genius CEOs who was coming into the game and left behind as soon as he walking through the door, because I believe maybe Andrew Luck is doing this smarter than everyone else at Stanford. Maybe all he needs to do is get the $50 million donors who will keep giving him money. But if Andrew Luck is going to build an athletic department that honors what his father did in administration throughout his career, that he would leave professional football to do it, it's because he's managing an athletic department that is about to be worth, in the streaming age, hundreds of millions of dollars if you do what Michigan just did, where you're great at football and you're great at basketball when there's no preordained right that makes you these things. They haven't won a championship at Michigan in 37 years. That was Ramil Robinson. That was Glenn Rice. This team will not be remembered as the previous favorite team since then of Michigan, which was the Fab Five, the team that just won the championship and had the best regular season that conference has ever seen. Will not be remembered the way the Fab Five would for being a style choice instead of actually excellent, because they couldn't do what Dusty May just did.
I hear all the questions that everybody has them when it comes to Michael Malone. UNC had them, which is why they tried to get other guys. They tried to get all the other top names. They all said no. So when you're left with, do we wait around for Billy Donovan, who, by the way, is also wet behind the ears when it comes to NIL? All right, he's been out of that game.
Wouldn't you have assumed they reached out to Billy Donovan?
They did. The reports are that Billy Donovan wanted to wait till the end of the NBA season.
I'm disturbed by how little Zaz is listening to the show. He's had these lapses lately. How are we going to punish this?
No, it's all right. I mentioned it in the middle of stuff. Jeff Goodman reported.
You mentioned the Billy Donovan part?
Yeah, Jeff Goodman mentioned that Billy Donovan wanted to wait till the end of the season.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am. It's not that important. We move on. UNC was faced with all our top guys that are active in this sport, that know what this world is like today, have passed on this job. Do we wait for Billy Donovan as the transfer portal is opening and take our chances, or do we put somebody in place with some cachet that's won an NBA title within the last 3 years and we hit the ground running right now with a shock hire? They obviously decided on that. It's not like Billy Donovan knows about NIL either.
Correct. You mentioned about recruiting and how much does Michael Malone know about going into someone's living room and recruiting them. You're telling me you don't think the first question out of all these recruits' mouths, out of their parents' mouths, whoever it is that's in the room, is, how much are you paying me?
Yes.
So what are we talking about when it comes to recruiting?
Yeah, well, because there are funds to be negotiated. Look, Mike's actually gotten into the weeds on some of this stuff. It is really fascinating to me that anybody, like, I don't know what would be your archetype for some fictional coach of go get me the best guy to run one of the real big prestige programs and make sure that North Carolina keeps it where Mike Jordan would want it. Like, go get me that person. I don't know who your ideal candidate is, but mine would be a skill set of somebody who can come in and grab a fundraising outfit and make it more valuable and get out there and be a public-facing voice and face for the team. Someone else got game day for me? Because I've got to go do the optics of keeping all of this up here looking right to everyone else, but governed most smartly because I'm not one of the inefficient schools that doesn't know how to do the unscientific thing of making sure that these kids who can't play basketball, because, God, there was a lot of slop in this tournament. These kids who are still learning how to play basketball, many of them very bad at it still, make that a business that's worth more than $20 million a year because I'm paying you X to do it. I can't believe that Michael Malone, when I call him a dinosaur, Mike, you do understand that I'm just calling it from within the construct of you're starting right now, and your first day on the job is the first day that you're going to have any experience with the world you're presently entering. It's not what you were doing before. It's in no way, shape, or form you being with your assistant coaches running through film on how it is to make sure that you go to the right side of somebody in that game. Like, he's been doing a completely different thing, and if that's what North Carolina hired him for, he'll be very good at that. But there's not going to be time for that.
Right, but outside of like the 6 guys that they were talking to, say they pivot to Jay Lucas. Jay Lucas also doesn't know what that is like. Right.
But at least he was in the college game.
He was an assistant at Duke, but he has no real experience being the head man at an institution quite like that. So when you look at the surroundings, I understand why they landed on Michael Malone.
Oh, but Mike, so...
And by the way, it seems as though he chose this. Michael Malone was about to enter another NBA hiring cycle where he would be one of the more obvious names linked to that.
See, I disagree.
I think he has a passion to do this at the school that his daughter is attending.
I think for all the reasons that you just laid out, with Mike Malone having zero experience with any of this, it's his agent's job to know before the coaching cycle begins in the NBA if his client is going to have a chance at one of these jobs. And I think it means that he wasn't.
The part, though, that's most interesting to me, and I don't think that you guys are in alignment with me on this. The thing that's interesting to me is that as we discuss this hire, as if any of us actually know what goes into the day-to-day details of running a giant athletic department's business. Yeah, you've got accounting over here and whatever, but Michael Malone is coming to North Carolina, and you've got it being a reunion with his kid, and what it's going to be is an all-consuming business job in the pressurized center of the only winning thing that region has had that gives it any national pride. Like, what do they have there? Cam Newton's MVP season? They've been playing sports for a long time. The NC State Wolfpack have been in the middle of the conference for a long time without much of that stuff mattering. This is the thing in that conference that is the golden thing. That their last coach isn't good enough, even though he's a local icon, even though he played to within a shot of the championship. Not good enough because he's out in the first round, because the standards of this school is we play against UConn and Michigan. Michigan doesn't have a right to be here more than we do. Why is Michigan here? You're giving that job to a person who the day he walks in on day one, make him nameless, doesn't have the skill set that they just hired him for, because the job he's good at, he's not going to get to do for another 4 months when he runs his first practice.
Right, which is why he was probably 7th on their list. 6 guys said no.
But you just said Jay Lucas doesn't have the experience, and I'm like, for a year he got it. Like that, you don't go. He just beat everybody at the most competitive thing. Okay, going from 7-24 to 24-7, just rocket shipped his value in this economy, because in the year of learning, he's got a year head start on Michael Malone. He's got a year head. Michael Malone's got the program, the history.
And an NBA championship.
And the better players this year by reputation, where Shelton Henderson is somebody that is leaving.
Well, he's coming back.
No, but I'm saying he's leaving North Carolina to come to you. He's leaving Duke. He's leaving that sphere, which is a different sphere than the one that Miami lives in.
Yeah, but I think we can all agree. And I'm the biggest Jay Lucas fan there is. Like, Michael Malone is at a different tier. even saying all the things that you're saying, I understand. I have probably in this room, I have the best idea of what that job looks like. Number one is energy and effort and availability. I don't know enough about Michael Malone outside of that clip where he seems really cool. Like, I think he's got the energy for it. So I think, and he's got impressive bona fides.
This is the part. Zaz, am I getting this part wrong? Because I believe all of this is so hyper specialized as commerce, as business, that just generally speaking, if you give me two candidates to connect with where basketball is now, is it a young 37-year-old guy or is it an old 54-year-old white guy? Like, where you connect with this sport, I don't think Michael Malone has an advantage over Jay Lucas when he's a year behind.
He seemed like he was connecting with Brucey B.
Is Brucey B going anywhere?
Hell no.
Paul Wall, baby.
I feel like we're playing the wrong game here. Who's the baseball team going to hire? Tony La Russa?
Oh, Joe Madden.
Listen to me, Chris. I saw something that happened, and I didn't want to point it out, but now you've left me no choice because I saw the way that
What, by bringing up a great game?
The way that Jeremy just looked at you. You and Jeremy will play your baseball games tonight as we do a live stream from 6:30 to whenever, to 8 to 9:30 to whenever it is that the evening ends or everything does.
So when the game ends, or
live stream? Live stream doesn't seem like the right word. Look,
if there is a big blast off on the horizon, we're gonna wrap up the stream early.
It is possible that it is possible. I know you've thought this. Anyone listening to this has thought this. It is possible simply that the president is Stugotz. It's just an assortment of lies and threats. None of it means anything. It's just words, obliterated. He can't even say it right. It's just words. It means nothing. 8 p.m. is just a fictional deadline. But he is armed with all of the power the United States has, and that makes it and him scary and dangerous in ways that right now are supremely irresponsible of him, that have no precedent in the history of American government, this lack of decency with cavalier wording around human life.
No, the only big blast we're seeing tonight's coming at the bat of Owen Casey in a pinch hit opportunity late, Dan.
The Maple Masher, and it's all brought to you by Never Miss Your Shot Golf. Thank you, Never Miss Your Shot Golf. You have provided us a self-indulgent playpen, and we are so grateful.
Yes.
Dan forgot what he was setting up. Perfect.
No, I did not forget what I was setting up. It's the sound of you calling Jeremy Joey for reasons that need explanation.
I know, but tell Joey.
Right.
That's what he was doing. I heard him say Joey, and I thought like I missed the joke.
I know, but tell Joey.
Right. That's his friend.
The backstory here, one of my best friends' name is Joey.
You sure it wasn't Jeremy and Tony kind of combining in your head?
I know, but tell Joey.
Right.
I like that character. That character,
Joey?
that Joey left and right instead of
Mike.
Tony. Like, no.
That's me, smack dab in the middle of the spectrum.
That. How does this happen to you, Chris? You haven't been the same since the sweat started gathering on the starched white collar of the back of your shirt.
I don't have an excuse. My tongue is heavy. I know, but tell Joey.
Right. And I wanted to go with it because I say right in the clip, and I'm like, I know what he said, but let's
We're
just keep
doing
going.
the first of two. Your tongue is heavy now? We're an hour into this project today. This little
End of the
project.
world, Dano.
You're going to dress that way, and it's going to hurt.
What?
Yeah, tonight you're going to be dressed as the attorney because of how good you look.
Keep you in a good mood, I guess.
You pointing to the camera, them having the camera on Tony.
Ready, guys?
That somehow video missed you being your very
They got it that
sexiest.
time.
Did they? The timing was so bad, and wait till you see what it is tonight. Chris Cody's going to swagger into the studio. Does David Samson know who it is that you're impersonating? Because I see David Samson gathering there for his hit in a second. And the character that Chris is playing, Levi, is what is his last name?
Levi McCathern?
Let's put this up for David. Put up the photo of Levi McCathern and Chris Cody so that I could set this up for David and just ask him if he would hire this guy as an attorney. Just based on appearance, you walk in.
Or how much younger do I look?
No, well, that too. We will do that as well. But a Naugahyde light blue jacket doesn't give off credibility. I really am thrilled to be doing this, Rob, because I admire your work a great deal, and it's rare that I find somebody from afar that I've been wanting to talk to because their story seems somehow something even more admirable to me. Now, you might not view it this way. I don't know how much nobility you think there is in your story, but in watching the art that you've made and watching the life that you've chosen, it's sort of been a pleasure to watch your work grow and to see, you know, the things that you are choosing late in life to do artistically.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. Thank you, and thank you for acknowledging that I am late in my life. There's a refreshing honesty to that. I am 45, so I'm well more than halfway.
45 is late in life.
I mean, I do think about it though sometimes. Though, like I'm definitely more than halfway done, and that's funny. Isn't that funny?
How does it feel to be told that you're late in life by someone who is considerably older than you?
Who's a great deal older than me? It's strange. I wonder, does he know things about, does he have access to my medical file? Has he seen things that I haven't seen?
I just feel like, I feel through your art like you've lived more than I have. It's really what I'm doing there, in the having of 4 kids, in the choosing work-life balance, in learning life's lesson. I just think that I was atrophied as a young person.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the things that that I've experienced that maybe most people haven't are, you know, I did get sober 20 years ago after going to jail after a car accident that I was responsible for, and I've stayed sober, so that's been pretty cool. I've had the unbelievable good fortune to make a living in comedy, and of course I didn't for a long time before I did, so that was challenging. And then, but the biggest thing would be that my wife and I, one of our sons got cancer and passed away a few years ago. So those are.
In these difficult times, we need our occasional clown levity. And so Tony has not been able to stop talking for 2 days about what he believes to be the story of the weekend, undercovered by our show, which is, if I can spoil it a little bit, the villainous Dillon Brooks getting into an epic staring match with Benny the Bull. And it made me think, what are the greatest staring matches involving mascots of all time? Because Frank Robinson stared down an umpire one time for more than 2.5 minutes. They stared at each other. It was Frank Robinson.
So good.
It is Frank Robinson made that umpire stop staring at him. But Benny the Bull, not smiling, face never changing, is able to do a stare down with Dillon Brooks, one of the most villainous players in the history of the NBA.
It's great because Benny the Bull, he doesn't blink because he's a mascot.
That's right.
And
but neither does Dillon Brooks.
And that's the thing. Dillon Brooks is standing there emulating the exact stance of Benny the Bull, and they're just going at it, and they're like 45 feet apart, and Dillon Brooks is just not breaking eye contact with those fake eyes. Now the question is, does Benny the Bull see the person inside Benny the Bull? Does he see through Benny's eyes?
Yes.
Or does he see through like Benny's snout?
No, let's see. No, that's got to be the snout, right?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
No, that has to be the snout. That's a shorter person. That mascot's head is around where the eyes are.
Yeah.
David, what was your greatest or most memorable interaction with a mascot of any kind? Because this is not the greatest showdown in the history of...
it's damn close.
Robin Lopez has had a bunch. I'd like to nominate him as our GOAT of just interactions with mascots.
Barkley was good with the mascots. He'd beat them up.
Beat them up. I mean, Conor McGregor punched Bernie in the face.
Mascots,
remember?
yeah. Well, wasn't there a lawsuit?
Yes.
Mascots make everything better. David, have you ever had a bad interaction with a mascot?
No, Tommy Lasorda and the Philly Fanatic was a good one, but that's really old school. My interaction was just that I got such a bad rap for firing the guy inside the mascot for somehow him thinking that he was the story and not the mascot. So mascots are an interesting part of the business of a sports team.
But what I'm asking you is, do you have a funny story involving the mascot thought he was worth $20,000 more, and you're like, that's funny, I could put anybody in this costume. And mascot's sitting there saying, do you know I have a personality, I'm the mascot. And you're saying, no, I'm going to save $12,000 here.
Well, that's exactly how it was, but it was more than $12,000. But yes, it is amazing. Now, I don't want to impugn the people who are inside the mascot suits. It ain't easy. And no, you're not looking through the eyes, Dan. It's way lower than that. It's hot. You're grumpy. You have to pretend that you're okay dealing with all the fans and the kids and the pictures and the crap.
So you're
and you make appearances.
So wait, at Le Batard Show, are mascots unhappy people? I just want to put that out there. Are people employed as mascots unhappy people? Because David is making this sound like a misery.
Dan, we talked about it with Amin the other day. He talks about the Atlanta Hawks mascot, who has an entire monopoly over all of the mascots in the Atlanta area. He's got the Chick-fil-A mascot. He's got this. He's got that. So he runs an entire mafia of mascots.
You got to love your job.
The guy in Denver makes $600,000 a year being the mascot in Denver. I think he's doing all right.
What?
Yeah. Wait to see that.
Wait, that's got to be from outside appearances that he's keeping the money from, which is what the issue was with Billy the Marlin, where we did not feel that that was proper, that we were not getting our proper shtup of the extra outside appearances.
Wait a minute. So you guys, what was the controversy? Was it with John Ruth, the greatest mascot in the history of South Florida?
John Ruth is the greatest mascot in the history of South Florida, or do you mean Billy the Marlin?
Well, he's
not a mascot. He's a man.
John Ruth is a performer.
He was the original.
He's a performer.
He was one of the original Billy the Marlins. Was he still? Was this do you remember the name of the person you were arguing with?
It wasn't an argument. It was that we were not going to pay John what he wanted to get paid, and we were not going to in any way allow him to take outside appearances and make that money without giving us at least more than 50%.
This GOAT conversation is presented by Frank's Red Hot. Make every dish the greatest. Eat the GOAT.
Rocky the Mountain Lion, the mascot for the Denver Nuggets, is the highest paid mascot in professional sports with an annual salary of $625,000 attributed to his 25-year tenure and acrobatic performances and all that stuff.
What about the gorilla?
Did they cut the pay of the Phoenix gorilla? Because the Phoenix Suns gorilla was the highest paid mascot in sports,
How would
I
he
thought.
possibly know that? Give him a second.
If he makes more than $625,000, I'm going to be a mascot.
But I think he did make more than. Look,
I'm going to take Bernie's job.
No, but what David's saying here is funny. I didn't think it's a conversation we'd be having, but the idea that the mascot thought he was his own economy, and David's wandering over and saying, because John Ruth was famous in this city before David was, but he's in the costume. And so he's coming over and saying, no, I'm the mascot of the kids of South Florida. I'm the unique personality inside the suit.
Why would he think that?
And David's coming over and saying, nope, I'm going to cut $125,000 out of your pay, because the mascot was being paid what back then, David?
I'd have to go back. You're talking 20 years ago, but more than that. So, Billy the Marlin became a guy named John DeSico, and he was amazing. And he understood what the job was. When we hired him to do it, he couldn't have been happier to do it. And he became Billy the Marlin, did all the appearances, gave us our share. He got paid and got insurance and was a full-time employee, and that was the end of it. To me, this was it was such an easy decision that it's just staggering to me, Roy, that anyone would think otherwise.
Is this offensive to you, Roy? Is it offensive to you that David Samson would take the business position of the mascot doesn't have a soul. The mascot is interchangeable. The mascot is the costume. The mascot is not the person.
It is offensive. It absolutely is offensive. Oh, it really
Roy,
pisses me off that you do that, David. Every single
I'm
time.
sorry to tell you this, Roy, but everybody's looking to replace everyone with someone younger and cheaper. That's just the reality. So I'm sorry. I really am sorry, because now I'm of that age.
What about younger and smarter?
No, you got to pay those people more. We need the younger and stupider to pay them cheaper.
Younger and cheaper is what. Look at how delighted he is at younger and cheaper. Look at him. Look how happy he is.
You want to really start worrying about something not 8 p.m. tonight, which has occurred to me that I actually thought about where I would be at 8 o'clock, sort of like seeking a friend for the end of the world. Do I want to be with someone, not with someone? Do I want to be in the fetal position?
Is David a part of the live stream tonight? Because I don't know who's been invited to this tonight. I don't even know what your schedule is. David Samson, nothing personal, is something he's doing during a very difficult time. And He's a legitimate baseball expert, like on the side. He really cares about baseball and knows a lot about baseball, and the discussions around him and the business of baseball are super interesting. But I don't know if you've been invited tonight. Have you?
No, I actually just keep seeing the commercials because I watch the show every day. So no, I was not invited, but it's just funny that that was chosen to be tonight, and sort of an hour and a half into it, there's going to be a moment where we're going to look at our watches and say, like, do we need a bunker? And isn't that insane that we're even talking
all right,
this
so
way?
So are we going to do this? Is David going to be, do you have a panic room in your, are you going to be in an actual bunker? Because we could have a doomsday clock on you tonight as we're talking Marlins, Panthers, and Heat at 8 p.m.
Unfortunately, I appreciate the invitation, but I am not going to be available at 8 o'clock to be where I am right now. I'm going to be elsewhere with someone else, and someone else who doesn't have a huge interest in being a part of an 8 o'clock bunker show.
You were invited.
Thank you.
Dan and Dave, I've got the top 6 salaries in Mascot world. Would you guys like them?
Yes, but Zaslow, which way would you guess here? And Samson, let's see who could do this more poorly between you and Samson, because I don't think Samson puts a value on these things at all. So I think if we were playing the Price is Right of who's going to be out of touch, I think Zaz is going to be better at this game than our business expert.
Yeah, let's do it.
So what's the game? You want me to give you the mascot and you tell me how much he makes, or how
yes,
much he makes for
yes.
the mascot?
Just make the list
Okay.
random, and let's have David go first.
The Phoenix Gorilla. What does the Phoenix Gorilla make?
$450.
I'll go under that.
Okay, under wins, he makes about $200,000 a year.
It's an incredible amount of money to be the gorilla.
Yeah, it is. Number 5, the Philly Fanatic. How much does the Philly Fanatic make?
That's a good one.
A lot of games there, too.
$325.
I'm going to go under that also.
Yeah. David's bad at this. Zaz is right again. He makes $200,000.
All Zaz has to do is say under. We don't know if he's good at it. We just know that he's better than David.
David's guessing horribly, and Zaz is just cleaning
Zaz,
up.
why don't you go first on the next one?
Zaz, why don't you go
All
first?
right.
Yeah. Great
Another
idea.
Philly guy, Gritty. How much does Gritty make a year?
Who's that, the flyer guy?
Yeah.
You tell me, buddy.
You don't know.
Yeah, it's
Gritty.
Fly's
I do.
mascot.
I just guessed it right. What do you mean I don't know? I got it right.
Clarification. Jeez.
Everybody calm down. 225.
Dave?
I'll go under.
Zaz is good at this game. He makes $250.
We're going in ascending order. Why would you go under?
Because he's a new mascot.
David is our money expert. He knows nothing about mascots.
The
Well,
aforementioned
they'd all be at
Benny the
125 for me, Dan.
You should say that on your tombstone.
Bull. The aforementioned Benny the Bull.
260.
Dave?
Under.
Makes $400,000 a year. Look at that man staring down Dylan Brooks, almost making just as much as Dylan Brooks.
David, how are you so terrible at
going
this
in ascending
game?
order.
David, how do you not understand what's happening here?
Why do you keep going lower than the previous number
Why
when
are
he's
you
going
finding
up?
this? Why are you finding this so elusive?
I thought you were doing it randomly, Tony. Are you just doing it in order?
That's what we told him, but then he just started doing it in the way, the conventional countdown way. Yeah, it wasn't that hard to seize on what
All
he was
right, I'll
doing.
get the next one.
All right,
Go.
the aforementioned Harry the Hawk.
You want me to give the number for this?
No, let's do Zaz first. Let's see if you figured
Okay.
this out.
290.
He's ruthless.
Over.
Dave!
There you
Harry the Hawk, outside of what his deal is with the Atlanta Hawks, makes $600,000 a year because again, he's got the monopoly on all Atlanta mascots.
But this we got to talk to this guy because this guy's a mafioso.
He is.
He's a mafioso of the mascot kingdom in Atlanta, where it's hard to make an entertainment dollar.
Yes, 100%. He owns the Chick-fil-A mascots. He owns the Atlanta.
No, he
Dream,
knows
the
how to
Atlanta Hawks,
He knows how
everybody.
to factory farm mascot.
And if somebody shows up at the mascot in the Atlanta area and doesn't talk to Harry the Hawk, it's over.
Okay, but one of the
Can
things,
we talk collusion, Dan, please, for one quick second?
Yes, in just a moment. But before we do that, because I will get to that with you, I just wanted to ask the group, okay, as a creative community here that cares about David Samson and loves to help him grow creatively, okay? David Samson, when Luka goes to Europe, has sort of, I don't know if it's a signature catchphrase, but it has not quite caught on. It's give me a break. That's when he's at up to here. I don't know what some of his other sayings are, and I was wondering if you guys would help him with perhaps a catchphrase he could try on when he gets to the height of indignation that would make it a better catchphrase than "give me a break." Can you guys help him?
What about horse hockey?
They're not great.
They sell shirts at
But
davidsamsonpodcast.com.
But if you had more, right? If you had more horse hockey and give me a break. I'm not saying they're bad catchphrases. I'm saying that you get so indignant that I'd like to come up with one that goes a tier higher, because right now, give me a break is the highest you got on what a joke. Correct? That's your highest indignation.
If you have a suggestion with your mass of people, I'm all in. At Nothing Personal, we're lean. So if you have something, we'll take it, because there's so much to be indignant about. If we thought that we could get a player's injury recovery cut in half, we'd send him to the damn moon. And all of a sudden, you get to go to Europe in a grade 2, you're out half the time. Give me a break. It's horse hockey. Sorry, I just used it again. But that's really what it is.
Hogwash.
My point is, okay, this is a verbal crush that he's got, and I want to help him with it. I want to give him something if he wants to market it. I want to give him something that will stop him from doing what he's presently doing, which is that happens to you 20 times a day, does it not? On any matter, any subject matter. Under?
20? I don't talk 20 times. Does anything happen to you 20 times a day?
No, I would think that on your show, look, David, you've been called Nothing Personal for a while, okay? But there are any number of things. You take no greater delight, it seems to me, than calling bullshit on something that the rest of the sports media isn't noticing is bullshit. So to me, that is your gymnast's routine of your greatest move of, hey, everything everyone's telling you is bullshit here. Here's the truth. And you do that about 20 times a day.
Well, that is the show. The show is to really let people understand when you are being spoken to and you're being spoken down to, because I was a part of that machine, what actually is being said and what's not being said.
Zaz, if you're interested in the business of sports, I've told you that what he does with John Skipper and Pablo, the sporting class, is the best business thing there is. But routinely, David, every day, trying to make sanity in an insane world, is doing a business show that it might as well be whatever Jim Cramer was doing on television, where he's navigating the day's daily financial mess with a fluency that no one else has. Like Florio has some of this language, but nobody's stimulated by this stuff the way that David is. And David, you presently see, right? You see with collusion and other examples, stuff that's happening that should be shouted about from the mountaintops, but largely the sports media doesn't care, because largely the real tough business parts of this sport and sports, we don't actually want to cover it. We're complicit in sort of just being the marketing machine.
Yeah, I disagree, Dan. I would say that sports business is having a moment because people are more interested than ever in not just in the salaries of players, because that's as old as time when USA Today would publish the list of every player's salary in Major League Baseball. But that used to be the only topic that we'd want to talk about. But now people want to understand what's going on in sports media. They want to understand what's going on behind the scenes in some of these transactions. And collusion, Dan, I wasn't talking about player collusion. I was talking about mascot collusion. Do you know, and you've all been a part of this, when you celebrate a mascot's birthday and invite all the mascots from the other teams to come into your home to celebrate, that you have to make sure that there's not some sort of sewing circle about, wait, what are you getting paid? What are you getting paid? What's your rate for a birthday party Sunday at noon? There is major mascot collusion that goes on. So I'm fascinated by these numbers that you're giving me. And I love the Atlanta Hawks mascot who has taken over for the collusion from the team. If he has, actually.
So per the Phoenix New Times, the Arizona governor only makes $95,000 a year. Of course, the gorilla makes $200,000. And in an interview, a former pro sports mascot with more than a dozen years of experience in the industry, speaking on the condition of anonymity to preserve the mascot code, told the Phoenix New Times that as of at least 5 years ago, the $200,000 a year figure was correct. So we're going based off something back from 2020. You can only imagine the way that has escalated now with rising prices.
You can't really look at the governor's salary, Jeremy, because look what the president makes. Now, I'm not talking about what is made outside of being president in the corruption. I'm talking about the actual salary. And look at senators and congressmen. They generally don't make their money till they're out of office, which is the same as many people in the public sector. They are poor until they go private. But so that's not a great comparison.
David, before I get to what's going on with Wilson Contreras, because it doesn't happen a whole lot in baseball or anywhere where one team keeps hitting one guy. One guy is getting hit 6 times by the same pitcher. The Brewers continue 20 times they've hit him, and so he's finally had enough at 20, and I want to get to that. But before I get to that, I want to put up on the screen Chris Cody and Levi McCathern, the attorney for Puka Nacua. And my question to you, Samson, is you're from law. You know law. This person is good at law in Texas. He's down to earth. Would you trust this person based just on how it is that he's dressed?
The first thing you learn first year of law school, Dan, do not judge a book by its cover. So I would never judge a lawyer. One of the lawyers who helped us in our RICO case, he was fully tattooed. And back then, that wasn't a thing. And when it was a thing, it was people who were in the West Village. And so he was one of the smartest lawyers I've come across in 3 decades. So I would not judge him based on the fact that he looks like he's on the set of The Big Lebowski.
Can you trust that man? It's a yes or no question.
Yes.
What about the man to his left?
I mean, it's just your costume department is outstanding.
How
many
years
you
younger?
Got the same hat.
How many years younger do I look than him?
Well, it looks like he dyes his goatee. So I'm going to go that he is 56, and I'm going to go that you look 34.
Congratulations, Chris Cody. You again win. You do indeed
34,
look 20
nice.
years younger. That slimming powder blue Naugahyde jacket has done wonders for you, as has that starched sweaty collar.
Naugahyde is leather.
Sticking.
What is Naugahyde?
It's a leather.
For those of you who had it being said 3 times over the course of 2 weeks on this show on Calci, you win.
Yeah,
okay.
He's definitely in the prediction markets. That's too many, especially when it's not a leather jacket. But you mean to tell me the Brewers are doing this to this dude the entire time his brother is behind the plate catching these pitches?
Well, before we get to the Wilson Contreras sound, David, do you want to set up what you find interesting about this story?
I just know that the old school baseball was all about, if you hit one of our guys, we're going to hit one of your guys. And every time you saw a batter get hit, that came from the front office or from the dugout, but it was planned before the game.
Not every time. Not every time.
Dan, I'm telling you what we would do before the game. Inside the manager's office, we were going through the lineup and we were saying, hey, from last night, from last month, from last year, this is the opportunity. We want to do it with this pitcher in this inning, in this circumstance. If that circumstance doesn't happen, then don't do it. There are also in-game decisions that get made when there's someone goes up and in that you do not like, and then you get down to the dugout to make sure that we're going up and in as well. So, Dan, that does happen, actually.
The detail that I'm asking you, though, for when it comes to – because I'm not disputing that it happens. You said that every time – it sounded like you said every time someone gets hit, it's on purpose.
Well, hold on. You can tell when someone's getting hit on purpose. A mistake with the bases loaded in a 1-1 game with a fastball that gets away because guys have no command anymore, that's not planned.
All right, this happened this weekend to Yuri Perez, who does not yet know how to pitch. He walked 4 guys in an inning and hit another batter, and they stole 3 bases, and he throws 99 miles an hour. It's a windmill. It's just fired all over the place. And with the bases loaded, he hit Aaron Judge in the back. That is not that's incompetence.
Correct. No, it's not that, Dan.
No, it is.
It happens.
No, that pitching performance was incompetence. It's 99 miles an hour, sprayed in every direction, and with the bases loaded, you hit Aaron Judge in the bat because you don't know how to pitch yet.
Well, it doesn't mean that Yuri doesn't know how to pitch. It means he doesn't always know where it's going. And that's something, if you ask a Major League Baseball hitter, that they can't stand. They can deal with Mason Miller 101, even though no one's getting hits off him right now, but they'd rather face Mason Miller at 101 with command than face a guy blowing 98 who has no idea where
They call
it's
it
going.
effectively wild.
Okay,
Dan.
but Kurt Schilling once said some form of, do you understand how precise we are? Every person who is hit on purpose.
I love that guy.
The reason that I was asking you that question is because, and maybe it's different now, but once upon a time it could be said that pitchers were precise enough that if they were hitting you, it was always on purpose.
I don't know, Dan. I wouldn't say always. There are pitches that get away. There's just the whole reason for the spider tack and why hitters actually are not upset when pitchers use some sort of substance is because it helps with their command. But again, it's a balance. What Garrett Cole was doing, the reason why spider tack is not allowed anymore, is it was giving actually different spin to the ball in addition to better command, and that all of a sudden is unfair. So it's a command issue. What I'm talking about is when you are in retribution for if Contreras slides hard into second base inappropriately and takes out your shortstop in a way that you don't like, you hit Contreras. That is what baseball was and what I love about baseball and would still do were I still running a team, because there is an unwritten rule that if you do something, it will be done to you. And we're not just going to do it to you, we're going to do it to your best guy.
Real quick here from last night in sports. I don't know how the rest of you felt about this, but I feel a little bit of guilt in that the college basketball game, which decided a championship and had the largest stakes on it, was vastly less interesting to me than what it is that I have seen from Hawks and Knicks, because of how fun it was to watch those two teams get us ready for the playoffs. When you can see the Hawks coming from a mile away, like even if they're not good this year, you can just see the length and athleticism and improvements where you're like, whoa, that team's going to be a problem for a while. I found myself more interested in the professional game, and then the way that game ended, right? All of the things where Jalen Brunson is a non-factor most of the game, and then fourth quarter, that's why the Knicks fan loves him right there, because you see all those athletes on the court, and at the end, one guy's going to be 15 points tougher, because he does amazing things in important times for the Knicks, and the Hawks might not quite be ready for that yet. But C.J. McCollum hitting to tie the game with a tenth of a second left, a 3/4 of a court three-pointer that would have tied the game if we hadn't gone to replay and seen that it was barely touching his fingertips as the buzzer went off. He banks in a three. I feel guilty about that being so much more of an interesting game to me last night than the one with the stakes.
I don't know if it was more interesting. It was probably more entertaining. I'll give it that. I watched both games. That Hawks-Knicks game was within 10 points the entire time. It was just war from military operation from the tip. And the national championship game was a military operation of attrition, right? Like nobody could get anything, even from outside. You kind of grown accustomed to that in the Final Four with the depth perception issues that come with having these games at these retractable roof stadiums and whatnot. But what I found so fascinating was how hard it was to get a bucket on the inside.
Terrace Reed is a good post player.
Dude,
I watched him all season in the post, and he did what he wanted in the post against everybody but Michigan.
The way that they have that camera angle with the elevated court makes you really appreciate how giant these teams
That
are.
kid Mara is big.
Yeah, Michigan's is a very long team. And
I was the most fascinated, gentleman, with the fact that Michigan had all transfers. And Mike, I was thinking about you while watching the game. That if you are a part of a team the way you are with the Hurricanes, and you look at Michigan and you see that they have a national championship, first team ever with 5 portals in the starting lineup, you got to be saying to yourself, why not us? Why not now? And I think that would be the first of many championship teams in basketball with all transfers at the starting lineup. What a change that is.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I like what college basketball is, and I understand there was very clearly some issues with one side of that stadium because I think the two teams went and combined like 3 for 30 from 3. I don't like the depth perception issues that come from the Final Four being played in these stadiums.
It's a funny thing to say, isn't it? Like you're deciding the championship and then you start playing a different game of different altitudes. It's space ball.
Pablo, get on it. Like the ball definitely bounces different off of these hoops.
Dusty May was practicing inside the big house.
In the big house, which I thought, coaching, that's inspired. But I do like that it's a different sport. Look, it's the rare NBA occurrence in which a game the entire way, wire to wire, is played
so much fun
inside of 10 points, and you got playoff atmosphere. Like, I understand why that was certainly appealing. I was really into that game too. But what I like about college basketball and why I favor it a little bit more than the NBA right now is these teams in college basketball have an identity.
Yes.
I like that kids can throw up on the front of their jersey because the moment gets too big to them because, of course, they're 18 years old. I like that coaching matters. I like that athleticism can make up for talent. I like that tenacity on the defensive end can equalize a talent disparity, and you get teams with personalities.
Yes.
Like, oh, man, I'm playing St. John's tonight. I better pack a lunch. These guys are going to make my life hell. I like those.
There are
rock
lunches
fights.
being packed.
I like that about college basketball, where in the NBA everybody plays the same style, and it's just who's better at playing this one style.
It's who hits more three-pointers on any night is going to win an NBA game, unless you're the Grizzlies and you hit almost a record 29 three-point field goals and you still lose by double figures. But the college game now, like every team has a style of play. Ooh, they pound the ball down low. Ooh, they shoot more three-pointers. Ooh, they do this, they do that. Like the NBA doesn't have that anymore.
You keeping up for Memphis all of a sudden. Memphis man over here.
Well, I'm just telling you, they hit 29 threes. They still
lost. You said you loved them yesterday, too.
I just like everything about the college game, from like how the two coaches were basically on a pedestal, and they're on the court there, Dan Hurley quite literally, and they have these big cult of personality type of coaches over there.
Don't you like when they just sit on the stool that's by itself?
I love the theatrics of it. I thought the drama, even though it wasn't a good game, I'll give it that. Like, they were not shooting well. It was a dramatic game.
Okay, but the basketball stinks.
Dude, I mean, how could you not marvel at how difficult it was to get a layup in that game?
How could you not
marvel? It
marvel?
was because they kept missing layups.
No, it wasn't because they kept missing layups. It's because
Mike, I was
three
watching
guys,
the game. I was watching the game.
You know why they
couldn't
missed
make a
him?
layup.
You know why they missed him?
Mara is next
because they
he's
had
next
three
to the
arms. They had
Mara,
3 arms, like
Mara
holding
is
up broomsticks.
2 inches away from the goal, and he can't put the ball in. Guy's a stiff.
He's not a stiff.
He's a stiff.
He's not a
I
stiff.
saw him running.
He's just
a
a stiff compared to Nikhil Alexander Walker. This is like that. One of them is playing. One of them is playing spaceball, and one of them is the modern day Zach Edey.
I like that players like Zach Edey can still have something to offer in the college game because he plays into an identity. So to answer your question, I liked it both. I like both of them. I like the national championship game for what it was, which was ugly. I'll admit that, but it was certainly dramatic. Every possession was big, and I love the NBA game. How could you not?
The thing that I'm just watching, and it is fascinating because college will stir up, regional feelings of I love sports. No matter how professional the model is, right? But we've made amateur sports professional sports when it's still a minor league, and they're practicing basketball, and much of it isn't even as good as the G League. And so how do we sell it to you better? The cult of personality of coaches. If the basketball is going to be crappy, isn't Dan Hurley interesting as someone the Lakers tried to hire because I want a personality as a coach? And getting to that game 3 times in 4 years is actually more impressive than what Michigan just did by getting into the Hurley game. Hurley's been dominating that sport. Hurley was going to be hired to caretake LeBron's last years. He's the only one paid more than Pitino in that conference because he's the star of that sport when we're replacing the programs with the coach. Like, in this instance, this isn't about, he's not Jim Calhoun. UConn is good because Dan Hurley makes them good. They shouldn't have been in that game last night. They shouldn't have been playing in that game. They shouldn't have beaten Duke.
They fought the entire time, and their coach is agonized on the sideline from a gambit. Hey, Michigan might be one of the greatest college basketball games one of the best college basketball teams you've seen this century, and they're going against a team that is shooting for dynasty status. That is what you want to see. You want to see the best run through the best. And UConn's path to the final was insane, what they did to get there. I love the drama of it.
Samson, I'm sorry that we talked so much college basketball and I haven't talked to you about space and what is going on the other side of the moon. I am told that Jeremy, or Joey as Chris likes to call him, that he wept
I did.
because of the astronauts, and the astronauts have gone further than humans have ever gone in spacecraft in the middle of the insanity of what is happening in this country at all times. And why did you weep?
They were tasked with naming new discoveries on the far side of the moon, and I believe we have the video of this or the audio of it, but they decided as a group to name a part of the far side of the moon after a deceased loved one.
And the second one, and especially meaningful for this crew, is a number of years ago we started this journey in our close-knit astronaut family, and we lost a loved one. And there's a feature in a really neat place on the moon, and it is on the near side, far side boundary. In fact, it's just on the near side of that boundary, and so at certain times of the moon's transit around Earth, we will be able to see this from Earth. And so we lost a loved one. Her name was Carol, the spouse of Reed, the mother of Katie and Ellie. And if you want to find this one, you look at Glushko, and it's just to the northwest of that, at the same latitude as Ohm, and it's a bright spot on the moon. And we would like to call it Carol, and you spell that C-A-R-R-O-L-L.
And there you can see the hug. The astronaut speaking is not the man who lost his wife. The one who placed his arm on his shoulder is. And to be able to go further than any other human has ever gone before, to have this moment with your crew, to share with friends like that, it was so unbelievably moving. And maybe it's because, and I'm wearing the hat right now, like maybe it's because I saw Project Hail Mary and I'm now moved by space discovery, and it just changed sort of perspective to have these two things come out at the same time. But this was a special, this is a special moment, a special thing to happen, and all of you are just going to laugh at it.
Thank you, Joey.
Do you know what's even easier, Joey? You can go online and buy a star and name it.
Yeah, but they just discovered this, David. No one's ever seen this before. It's a special.
Why is
are we
Zaslow
shitting
laughing?
on this stuff?
Why is
no,
Zaslow
it's a
laughing?
beautiful thing. You guys suck.
I'm not shitting.
No, all of you
we're
suck.
Not, we're not. Me and Zaz just didn't think that.
Not you, Roy.
That the promotion of I'm wearing the hat matched what we were talking about.
I'm with Joey.
He put too much sauce and syrup on it. I'm wearing the hat because this is a cause
The
so
Carol
close
hat
to
or
my
the
heart.
Project Hail Mary hat. I can't see it.
I don't know
far
why
away.
are you doing that. It's been an
gonna go ahead and
incredible adventure.
No.
There's been amazing moment after amazing moment. Did you guys see that the late astronaut, the commander of Apollo 13, Jim Lovell, he died a year ago, but before he died, he recorded a message for the Artemis crew that they woke up to, and they played the entire message on CNN of him congratulating them for going further into space than any human has ever gone.
Also moving, and in the places that Zaz and others can be disrespectful, I would like it noted that in terms of human achievement and being on the boundary between here and wherever there is, if you're someone who believes in the idea that we don't know what we don't know and how close we can get within human limits to spiritual outer space, losing a loved one at the height of love and death and the biggest things that human beings can feel while in a tube that risks your life in the toilet doesn't work, and there's a reason humans haven't been this far before, that you risk your life in order to do it, and you trust space and spiritual station.
I find their perspective fascinating. There was one astronaut that was saying, we're out here. There is vast nothingness. It makes me really appreciate the beautiful place that we have. It's so unique. There's literally nothing like it that we know of in the universe. We have this beautiful place. We have gone out further than anybody else, and we don't see anything else. We are so lucky to live on this planet. And it makes messages like we saw from the president this morning even more head-scratching, because it feels like they're imploring us to take care of this place because there's nothing else like it, and we're constantly threatening to destroy it.
Samson?
What do you want me to respond to that? I mean, Mike, yes, it's true.
It wasn't
There's
dead fish you
nothing
threw
else
at
like
Dave.
it.
You threw a dead fish
You
at him. Dave.
love doing that, Dan.
8 o'clock tonight.
That in a costume. Dan loves it.
If 8 o'clock is something, then tomorrow's show. Wait, do we have to come to work tomorrow, Dan? If it's
there's
the
no
end of the
plan
world
yet.
tonight, is there a show tomorrow?
No.
Wait to see.
At 8 p.m. tonight, we might be
The ultimate.
broadcasting.
Hey, that's
the
his
end.
gimmick.
Wait to see. We need to come up with, David, something better than give me a break. No?
I got it. Cut it out.
Send him back out.
Oh, my gosh. Dress
I'm
him
Joey,
up as corn
just
again.
what I like
yeah.
to.
Dress Joey up as
It's a layered
corn.
joke.
Corn again.
There's 2 layers.